As fans and students of world cinema, we've brought you films from a wide range of filmmakers from around the world. This month, we'll be venturing to Japan for the first time, home of one of film history's most respected and renowned filmmakers, Akira Kurosawa. Known for making many samurai films set in feudal-era Japan, in fact, he's pretty much the king of samurai films, Kurosawa is a legend of genre filmmaking. That's not to say his work only succeeds within the confines of one genre. Not to mention that his samurai films laid the groundwork for many of the great westerns in the following decades. Because of his vast influence, it makes sense to start with one of the most epic and most well-loved films of his career, Seven Samurai. Not only is it well regarded among his biggest fans, but it was also a huge hit in many Western countries. Perhaps if you haven't seen this film, you're aware of the 1960 Americanized version, The Magnificent Seven, or even the 2016 remake of that film. Seven Samurai tells the story of a small village overrun by bandits that decides to try to find unemployed samurai to defend their village in exchange for a place to stay and some rice to eat. They end up with a sort of ragtag group of samurai, the best they can find, who will take their offer. The group of samurai train the village people as the whole village prepares to take on the armed bandits. The film is truly epic in scale. It's over 3 hours, but not because it's slow. To me, the reason the film is so long is because it bothers to take its time through each section of the story, setting up the villains, the townspeople and their concerns, assembling the seven samurai and establishing their characters, strategizing their defense, and then laying out the battle for the town. It maintains a steady pace, not skipping through any details that may appear inconsequential, because those things add to the film, whether to help develop characters or even just add to the mood. Kurosawa also wrote 101 character profiles for the villagers, including their family trees and personality traits, and many of these were for people who were only performing as background extras. This film is so large that it reportedly went 4 times over budget, and filming ran for 148 days. This caused Toho, the studio that also brought us Godzilla, to pull the plug several times, convinced they were making a flop. Kurosawa had to personally convince them to let him continue, and it obviously paid off. Also, for those who don't know, most films tend to shoot between 30 and 90 days, although it varies wildly. On Eyes Wide Shut, Kubrick reportedly broke a record for the longest continual shoot at 400 days. So compared to that, this must have been a breeze. Another important element to take note of when viewing Seven Samurai is the style in which the film is shot. In a style he was newly developing for this film and would later go on to use in all his action films, Kurosawa used multiple cameras at the same time to help the actors perform more naturally, as they wouldn't know which angle he would utilize in the final cut. From a filmmaking standpoint, on set this would be similar to the way Kathryn Bigelow runs through entire scenes with multiple angles, rather than shooting with a single camera the way Roger Deakins consistently does on the films he shoots. Every action film is different, but the two common stylistic presentations I notice popping up time and again are what I like to call the Jackie Chan and the Liam Neeson. Compare films like Police Story or The Raid to films like Taken or Fast and the Furious, and you will notice a major difference in the framing, camera movement, and what motivated a cut. In the Jackie Chan action style, you're presented with wider angles and slightly slower editing, which allows the actors, who in these cases are also required to be their own stunt performers, to fight and show off their impressive skills. The cuts are often motivated by movement, reframing to a new angle best to display the direction the action is taking place. This is the same fashion that Seven Samurai is shot and edited in. Alternatively, in the Liam Neeson style, shaky cam, quick cuts to the point where no cut feels motivated, and tight angles hide the lack of fighting ability in the actors, or covering up when they're replaced with a stunt double. Speaking of actors, this film features 2 great performances from actors Kurosawa features in almost all his films, Takashi Shimura and Toshiro Mifune. Shimura plays the leader of the samurai, the one who assembles the team and lays out a strategy, and his performance is more nuanced and subtle than that of Toshiro Mifune. Mifune plays a very eccentric samurai who drinks and jokes around as if he were a common vagrant. It is this persona that allows the town to hire him for only food and a place to sleep. The style of performance each actor goes for is quite different, but if you watch Kurosawa's other films, you'll know this is intentional. Each role is written quite well for their respective styles. The other samurai and many townspeople are also well defined, so no one in Kurosawa's film stands out as giving a bad performance across the board. Seven Samurai shouldn't just be looked at as essential viewing because it's the 19th highest rated film on IMDb. Like I said with 8.5, don't let yourself be convinced just because it's something they teach in film school. Like Fellini, Kurosawa is truly one of the greats, and if you allow yourself to miss out on an entire portion of film history because you have to read subtitles, it'll be you who misses out. I mean, The Irishman may be in English, but Seven Samurai still feels significantly shorter. Truth be told, any of Kurosawa's films would meet the standard to be an essential arthouse film. And I almost made this video about another of his, assuming this would be the 100th time someone's told you to watch this film. But I don't care, I'll be 101, and I'll say it's because Kurosawa is George Lucas's favorite director. I could also say, compared to Tarkovsky or Haneke, Kurosawa is pretty easy to get into as someone who grew up on American films. And it's because so many of them are inspired by him. We wouldn't have Star Wars without The Hidden Fortress, A Fistful of Dollars without Yojimbo, or The Magnificent Seven without this film. And to me, that's what makes Seven Samurai an essential arthouse film.